Bigger. Yeah, there you go. Um, okay, so thank you very much for giving me the opportunity today to come in and talk about PMI. A brief introduction to myself. I've worked at Aviva 26 years, something like that. So quite a long time. I've seen a lot of changes in that time. I've done this role for probably about 9 years, so in sales, and I'm based in Southampton. I look after relationships with brokers and intermediaries across the piece on both consumer, individual PMI, and group SME, so small businesses. Um, and obviously, my role is to go out seeing brokers to tell them exactly about the product and how they can work with us. And we've got some new tools as well available to those wishing to start out on PMI as well. So I'll sort of touch on that information as well. We have a team in Sheffield who are your day-to-day contacts. Um, so I will obviously provide all of this sort of to sort of Mohan so he can distribute. Or, of course, if anyone wants a more in-depth session on PMI following this, then I'm more than happy to meet either face-to-face or Teams to enlarge upon what I'll deliver today. But yeah, you've got the team in Sheffield to help on day-to-day queries. Um, so, firstly, the introduction to PMI. So, PMI is a general insurance product. It's annually renewable. There's always that renewal period to look at for the next year. And if you, as I say, if you've got GR permissions, then you can sell PMI. It's a very straightforward product from that perspective. Um, a few more of the basics. I don't know whether anyone's actually got PMI, but I'll go through the basics of PMI and how it actually works. We're still seeing PMI as growing, as I was briefly talking to Mohan about this. Um, we're still seeing a lot of virgin, brand new to market group quotes coming through. People are still looking to actually make sure that as they're trying to grow as a business, they can get people back to work quickly as well. They can avoid NHS waiting times, etc., to get their key workers back to work. Um, Reasons for buying, absence, so on a company basis, we're I suppose the reason's always been to combat absenteeism, to get those key workers back to work quickly. You imagine if you're a big entity, let's say you've got 20, 30 upwards employees, they've probably got 2 to 3 people for, most roles. In small businesses, they may only just have one. So that is regarded as a key worker. They want to get them back to work very quickly. So they're looking to combat absenteeism. Um, Obviously, interlinked with that is speed. People want to find out what's wrong with them quickly. PMI is very much a kind of, something doesn't feel right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take myself off to the GP and find out what's wrong with me, and then sort of go from there. They'll refer you to see a specialist, a consultant, and that's when you can get access to really quick treatment. Obviously, down the NHS, the alternative route, things can be a bit slower. Um, and obviously, half the battle when you don't feel right is finding out what's wrong with you. So, speed, access to diagnostics and treatment is vital. Access, of course, to private specialists and hospitals. It's a totally different experience to going down the NHS route. Um, it's a much more relaxed atmosphere, and it sort of eases the whole process for claimants. Availability, it can be purchased on a consumer basis for individuals and families, and obviously as a business. Now, recently, in the last sort of year and a half, what we've classed as business PMI is from one employee upwards. So if you're a sole trader, if you own a limited company, then you can take out a group plan as opposed to an individual policy. For your individuals from family. On a group basis, it's classed as a business expense, so it can come off corporation tax. It is seen as a benefit in kind to employees, but it is tax deductible, so it's tax efficient in that way. Um, For you guys, brokers, it's a commission-based annually renewable product, as I say. So you'll get commission up front, and then you'll get a steady amount of trail commission thereafter each year. So that's based on individual and group PMI. Private medical insurance is there to cover acute conditions as opposed to chronic. So what do we mean by that? Well, acute actually means anything that's curable of a short duration, as opposed to chronic. Chronic may well be something like diabetes. There is no cure for diabetes, it's managed, um, but it's classed as a chronic condition. So there is the definition. We're there to cure, to add our experience to enable curative action, as opposed to just trying to deal with a chronic condition. Underwriting, underwriting is pretty straightforward actually. If it's brand new to market, so if they've never had PMI before, there's two main choices. So that's either, and this is individual or group PMI, there's full medical underwriting. That's the traditional way. They write down, they provide us an information that's happened to them previously. It's passed to our underwriters, and they may then place exclusions. They may not, but you'll be left with your exclusion certificates for what you can and can't claim for condition wise. New moratorium is depicted there. So there is no underwriting from the outset. What we're saying is that you need to go from the start date of the policy 2 years, treatment advice, medication, investigation free for that 2 year period for anything you've had looking back from the start date 5 years. So, let's say someone decides to take out moratorium. They decide to call up after the first year to say, I need to make a claim. Our claims assessor will say, I see you've got moratorium underwriting. Have you had any issues with this in the previous 5 years from when you started with us? If the answer is yes, then we say, right, from this period, you have to go 2 years free of any treatment, etc., advice before we would look to cover that. Anything new, then that's covered down to terms and conditions of the policy, so that's all okay. If they've really got cover in place, the other providers in the market, really in size of order, I guess, and in order of size, sorry, is Bupa, AXA, then us and Vitality. They're the main four providers. So if they're with one of those, and they want to see if they can save a bit of money, then it's called switch business. So they can look to maybe switch over to another provider. If they've started out on full medical underwriting when they began the process and with PMI, they'd come over to us on CME, continued medical exclusions. We'd just pick up the exclusions they've got with the other provider and drop them with us. If they started out on new moratorium, they'd come over to us on continued moratorium. So have they been through that 2 year period for a condition they previously had? If they've been through 1 year, then they've only got 1 year to go with us. We continue that moratorium period on. MHD, medical history disregarded, is mainly for groups, for group business. You pay a bit extra, but there is no underwriting process at all. There are no personal exclusions. You obviously pay a bit extra for that, but it's available. Hopefully that's made sense. And by the way, if anyone's got any questions I'm going through, please feel free to alert myself or Moan to that, and then we can sort of help with answers. I'll concentrate on the group product today. As I say, it does start from one employee upwards, so it's becoming more and more popular on that basis. There aren't that many differences between group and individual, and of course, I can do a separate session with someone if they're interested in individuals. The solutions product and the individual plans, how they both work, is core cover. So you can see the core element of the cover on the left-hand side there. So that's got everything you would normally expect. Inpatient when you're admitted to a hospital, day, overnight, day patient when you're admitted during the day, and then outpatient when you might just have a test or consultation in a hospital. All that's included under the core cover, plus a lot of other things that I don't necessarily want to go into too much detail today about. Um, I can do so at a separate session if you wish. And then, of course, what you start doing is adding more options to that. And each one of these will incur an increase for enhancing the cover, or it's a cost containment option to reduce the cover. So you can see the options that are showing there. One thing to make you aware of is that there are different hospital lists to choose from. So if your client is saying, look, I must have access to a particular hospital, you check to see what hospital that's on, and that's the one that you may well suggest they look to take out cover on. So it could be the key hospital list, which is our standard list. It's a sort of nationwide hospital list. All the local hospitals on there, including some in and around London as well. Extended hospital list in that middle sort of column there at the bottom. That's got 7 extra hospitals in central London, like the Portland Hospital, for example, the London Bridge Hospital, the Wellington, some of these hospitals. The signature hospital list on the right-hand side is a cost containment option for Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the trust hospital list is an NHS hospital, but you have your own private room. So those are the different options if you know where you want to go to and you want to make sure that hospital's on the list. The other option that we've got is something called Expert Select. So Expert Select is what we call a guided option. It's becoming more and more popular in the market, especially those brand new to market, who haven't got any experience of where they think they ought to go to get the best solution to the issue. Expert Select is guided. So what that means is instead of when you start off a claim, when you go and see your GP, and the GP says, I think you need to go and see, let's say, Dr. St. John Smythe, who's fictitious in Harley Street, they will just say, yeah, I think you need to see, let's say, a cardiologist if there's a heart issue. You then come to us and we give you a choice of specialists who you go and see, and you pick from that list and a choice of hospitals. So instead of you coming to us saying who you want to see, where you want to see them, we give you a choice and you decide from there. So it's a slightly different way of looking at it. Expert Select is more cost efficient, and it is another alternatives, but you can see some of the benefits on there as well. We don't just use our definitions; we use things like the Care Quality Commission to help us guide to the right area. A business can divide itself up into different categories of staff. So you could have everyone on that core cover. Then you can divide it up into directors. They may want to have a different option, like the mental health upgrade or GP referred services. They may want to have a different hospital list. And then the office workers, again, different. Shop floor workers, again, different. So you can divide it up like that, which makes it really, really flexible. Cancer cover. So this is a really, really important part of PMI. The NHS actually do a fantastic job for cancer treatment. There is a slight postcode lottery with that, of course, as there is with most treatment, but in the main, they do a pretty good job. Where the private sector takes over is some of these really, really expensive drugs and just dealing with you in a slightly different way than the NHS would. But our cancer pledge is part of our core cover. So that means that it's always there. It's a full cancer cover. You can't take things off it. You can't add things onto it. It is as it is. It's a full cancer cover, and it's always there as part of that core cover. Um, you can see all the things that it covers there. Um, Even some of these really, really expensive drugs you may or may not heard of, something like CAR T cell therapy. It's a fairly new drug. It's about 300, 400,000 pounds a pop. It's very, very expensive. Um, so it covers all those types of treatments as well. And we've only got one team that deals with cancer claims as well. So they're to help our customers when they really, really need assistance and help. Um, so it's a really, really good addition to the proposition. The quoting and onboarding process. So on the group side, again, because what we're concentrating on today, um, for Virgin Business, brand new, you can see the details we need there. The company name, the postcode, start date, payment method, our agency code. You will need a separate agency code to transact business on the healthcare side. So, that's something that I can help facilitate. Um, and then, of course, additionally, for any new to market schemes, we'll need to know what type of benefits they want, what type of underwriting, and on what basis. Do they want to just cover the employees, or do they want to also cover um, their partners, family? Is it a single parent family? So we need that information as well. For switch business, so if they've really got cover in place, it's even more straightforward than that. All we would need really is a current schedule, which will have all that detail on anyway, and then also the renewal offer. Um, Loss ratios are not available in the market. We can't really see how a scheme's performed. The way that we use the information, the difference between the two prices, is to actually see what the risk is. So if the premium's gone up on their renewal an awful lot, then we know there might be some big claims there. So we can price accordingly. Has all of this made sense so far? Hopefully it has. The added value benefits. So PMI, obviously, as I've sort of mentioned, it's there to get people back up and running again, after they've gone through a period of illness or uncertainty. There are these days quite a lot of added value benefits as well that are associated with private medical insurance. So on the group side, we've got a well-being app, so people can download an app. They can put into there some issues they may be experiencing. So it might well be that they want to eat better. Maybe they need a bit of help with sort of mental outlook, finances. They may want to get fitter, anything like that. They put that into the app. The app then gives them advice, and when they take that advice, they get discounts off various different products. There's an awful lot more on there. It's you can sync it with wearables. You can do all that sort of things as well. So it's a great addition to the proposition. Aviva Digital GP. So here, instead of waiting to go and see your GP, you can actually download an app which allows you to have FaceTime with a GP. It's unlimited, so you can have as many sessions as you like during the year. Probably 10 to 15 minutes each session. You can choose between male and female, 24/7, and you can use it abroad as well. It can also act as that onward referral. So remember, you go and see your GP, contact us to see whether the claim's eligible, and then off you go for a consultation or a test. Instead of doing all that face to face, it can be accomplished by using the digital GP service as well. There's a line manager training toolkit, so these are bite-sized videos that enable line managers to have some sort of expert eye on their staff. If there's changes in the staff, you know, maybe one member of the staff is always quite lively, engaging, is actually quiet. Enables the line manager to be able to open up questioning techniques to make sure that they're okay. If they feel the HR team needs to get involved and add more assistance, then they can do. But it's a good sort of red flag, I guess, for line managers for their staff. Stress counselling helpline 24/7. It's available for employees to be able to access to talk to others about any issues they might be having. Mental health support articles, there's an awful lot there. Um, Obviously, through what everyone's been through, we've seen quite an increase in mental health claims. Um, we've even actually got, just as we've got one claims team for cancer claims, we've got one team that deals solely with mental health claims as well. But we've got a lot of things that can help and assist customers. Um, get active. Here are gym discounts. So you can get gym discounts on a whole myriad of different chains. David Lloyd's on there, for example. So is Virgin. So is um, Nuffield. Nuffield. You can get discounts off various well-man checks as well if you wish. So there's a lot of information on there about the different parts to our proposition. I don't know whether you've heard of My Aviva, but My Aviva is the nod to the fact that Aviva is a composite insurer. So what that means is we've got so many different products. Um, Mohan mentioned it earlier, protection, equity release, pensions, etc., group life, group risk. Um, MyAviva is something that another app you can download. You create your login to MyAviva, you can see all of your products in one place. It may well be that you've got house insurance with us, or you've got car insurance, or you've got your PMI. Once you've created that login, you can access all of those different products. Um, with PMI specifically, you can start any claim online. You can have live chats with the claims team through there. You can look at past bills. There's lots of things you can do. And then overall, you can get discounts off other products as well. So, it's worth looking at. If you've got any Aviva customer, mention My Aviva to them. So tools available for you. Um, we've got something called the broker portal. So administering the policies, as I say, once the policy's gone on risk, then you've got that period before the renewal when it should hopefully run smoothly. If the customer needs to make a claim, they can come through to us and the claim is sorted out. But there may well be people to add to the scheme. There may be people to add to the individual schemes. You can do that as their broker. You can get logged on to broker portal. You can drill down into that policy you've placed with us. And on the group side, you can do all of those things there. So you can add members, delete members. You can get SME renewal quotes, live chats with the guys in the trading center, and billing information like financial statements, that kind of thing as well. So there's an awful lot you can do self-serve, and it's almost like going shopping online. As I say, you drill down into the policy, you make the changes, they go into a basket. When you check out, the basket is sort of checked out. You get an email back from us to say that those changes have been made to the policy. A health advisor site. So you may well go into the Aviva advisor site on the life side. Um, when you go into the advisor site, you'll note in the top left-hand corner 3 different options: life, GI, and health. If you clicked on health, then that would give you a whole lot of information there about our products. And also under resources now, there's another section you can enter, which is called PMI Made Simple. So within PMI Simple, there's lots of things like suitability letters, lots of things like letter templates you can use, um, lots of flyers on there, um, campaign ideas. So there's lots and lots of things on there that you can look at, which can help you start getting more involved with PMI. So it's well worth having a look on there. Also, what we've got on there are the application forms, brochures, and more points about things like excesses, how they work. There's a whole lot of information on there, including the broker portal side as well, which you can look at. If you want to get logged into there after you've placed business with us, then the Trading Centre will help you do that. This is actually the last slide, so may give you back some time, but I wanted to just sort of mention the differences between the two products. So solutions is what I've gone through in the main today. And then we've got healthier solutions, which is the individual plan. So on the individual side, obviously we'll insure, family members, individuals. We need a premium from, let's say, mum and dad and the eldest child, and the rest of the children are free. Um, so that makes it cost effective if there's quite a big family. But solutions, some of the key differences there. On the solutions plan, we've got something called Back to Better and the mental health pathway. These are on that core cover. So Back to Better, you don't need to see a GP. If you've got problems with muscles, joints, you can just, and backs, musculoskeletal area, just contact us and we'll start engaging with you. And if you need to see a physiotherapist, that's where you'll go. Mental health pathway, again, don't see a GP, come to us. We'll start engaging with you if you've got stress, anxiety, any of those sort of things. We'll give you some self-help advice, cognitive behavioral therapy sessions, and if you need to see a psychiatrist, that's where you'll go. So they're part of the core cover and they're really good outlet for people. And of course, we're seeing more and more of that sort of stuff in the workplace as well. Slightly different excesses, so on the individual plan, you can see at the bottom there, we've got excesses that go all the way up to £5,000. PMI will get more expensive as you get older. So to mitigate some of that, and also as you get older, you start thinking about some of the big things, heart issues, maybe cancer. So you pay £5,000 towards a claim and everything else is covered. There's a no claims discount on the individual plan. So a bit like car insurance, you start at some place, some position. If you make a claim, you go down, in our case, 3 levels to less discount. If you don't make a claim, you go up 1 level to more discount. Everyone on the policy's got one of those, whereas that doesn't happen on the group side. And that's what I had to go through today. Take about sort of 36, 40 minutes, but I wondered whether anyone had any questions. Has anyone got any questions?
It's all very quiet.
Come on, guys. One person's got a question.
Come on, Sarwan, you want to say something. I can see it. You're smiling. You're on mute. You're on mute, Sarwan.
No, Roger, it was very well presented, so we will come back to you if there is any further questions.
Okay, that's fine. What was the? Can I just ask what was the interest today? You You just kind of thought it's just another product to be interested in hearing, or was there anything specific?
No, I always interested in private medical, but I didn't have much knowledge. You know,
Okay.
it's quite interesting to know that we can look at switching to save cost to the customer as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as well that, now it's a lot more simpler. I mean, imagine when we had 15 different products.
Yeah, yeah.
You imagine my job then. It's not easy. So having one product individual, one group is very straightforward and straightforward for you guys as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so good.
Great.
Okay.
Right. Thanks, Roger. We appreciate your webinar, and we will certainly share that with the rest of the team.
Okay, no problem.
And
If anyone
hopefully
wants another, I guess, is it all around the southeast or is it elsewhere as well? I think it's just national.
national advisors are
National.
dotted around all over the place.
Okay. Well, if anyone's interested in finding out anything more, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help.
Great. Thanks, Roger.
Good.
Appreciate that.
Thanks. Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers.
Bye bye now.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.